action. That's always been scary. Alright, so we're going to go on, we did touch into birth environment last week, so we're just going to retouch on that a little bit, but also we're going to go into, most people know them as birth plans, but like I said, I like to call them a birth journey versus birth plan, because we all are going to go on a journey to birth, and some of us may take detours that others don't, but it's just having an idea where we want to go. So first of all, thinking about our birthing environment. So last week we said about how the 5 things you sort of want to keep your birth. Can you see? Am I seeing right away? So I'm not so smacking away. So the 5 elements are going to allow you to be relaxed and let all those hormones do their wonderful things and stop the adrenaline and that coming on board. Is you want to be warm, you want to be safe, you want to be private, you want to be quiet, and you want to be dimly lit. So, and I said the dimly lit and quiet thing also is for baby as well, surety and warmth. So if you guys will close your eyes, if you'll try a wee bit of a visualisation thing. So imagine the last romantic situation you ended up in. Could very well have been one about 9 months ago that ended up here. And try and think what it was like. Was it glaring lights? Did you have 300 people walking in? Was it really loud? Well, don't go, you guys.
I was waiting for a reaction. So fun.
That's your visualisation.
2 years ago since we had sex.
Yeah, sure.
So, think about what it was like. So you don't say it out loud, but just think in your head how it was, you know. And so you can open your eyes again. So what we're sort of doing that simulation is the hormones of birth and the hormones of labour are very, very similar to the hormones of making love. So those environments are actually quite similar in what you're trying to encourage. So you can imagine how you probably wouldn't feel that comfortable making love with 3 different doctors walking in, different nurse on a different part, someone else walking past the curtain waving hi. Some of us are used to children walking in every so often. But you know, generally you don't have the doors open and you don't have, you know, huge loud other people talking and sorts of things like that. So that's what we're sort of thinking when we think of those birth environments, is sort of that romantic quiet. That's a familiar setting for a lot of us, that you can sort of assimilate that to your birthing environment. So, do you guys have any questions about that part? So, the next part is how to navigate your birthday.
I get to read.
Kind of. So, if any guys aren't comfortable doing this, just let me know and change. So, what we're sort of thinking is, so if we think of these as stepping stones, so we're all started off in labour, and sort of to help you navigate how you're going to want to write down what your birth journey, what you want your birth journey to be. So I'll start off with this one here. So I plan to birth at home. If I need to transfer to hospital, please bring my music, my wet bag and my rescue remedy. So it's giving advice to your support people. I choose not to use medical pain relief unless I need some sort of medical, for medical reasons. Remind me of this choice and encourage me positively. This is something I find quite important and want your support. Tell me I'm strong, tell me our baby will be here soon. So that's a message to your midwife and to your support person as well, that you've got that in there. I would like to be encouraged to walk around, to rock my hips and to use upright positions. So that poster we did with all the different sort of positions, play around with that at home and do, you know, practice squatting, practice sitting backwards on chairs and feel the positions that you feel your body open up more in or what's comfortable. During birth, just go with what your body says. It really will guide you as to how it wants to be. And
It's a really maybe dumb question.
absolutely not.
What do people do with their hair at birth? Like, I can imagine it could get in your way, or if it's in a ponytail, it might get uncomfortable if you lie down on it, or...
I was going to say, I
Right.
pulled it out and took it in, pulled it out and took it
Okay.
in. You're right, because it does get in the way occasionally. So most of us do just sort of tie it up.
Yeah.
Midwives are amazingly quick at getting a bun on the top of your head. So yeah, and support people. Practice now how to put your hair up, because you might just get thrown a hair tie and get told.
Just have it really pulled down low, so it's not sticking in your
There's a
ear.
whole website dedicated to hair.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I think it's more aimed at women who want to look a certain way for photographs. But they do have ways, you know, while you're in this, but yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah, like what products give staying power to the
Alright, you Google that.
It's quite
But
a
pencil
funny
clips
read.
have some,
But then there are
and
things,
your
you know,
bed,
I'll just put my
ready
hair
to
like
go.
this.
Hair tie and things that'll go
Oh,
like
plates,
this. A lot of
maybe.
people find they're not comfortable.
Putting that in my little go to the hospital
I
bag.
couldn't even tell you what I did with my hair. It would have been in and out and out.
And
Straight
some
into
of
one
the
of those
corporates,
forehead
you know,
rolls
ones
that's
that
been
sort of twist up and
it's gonna
then
be-
clunk,
It's like
go really quite quick to get up, but obviously not comfortable doing that. So,
Thank you.
no, you're very welcome. So I said about that, so, and the hips more open in a squatting position, perhaps suggest this to me too. So, you know, you're giving them ways that they can support you, and you're making sure you've got your ideals down that you want, because remember, you're the guardian of that birth space for people, so you want to help encourage these things. I would like birth photos, and I have someone organised to do this. So that's also, so your midwife doesn't know someone is coming in, so it's just discussing something like that. So, are you comfortable reading yours out and laying them out like that?
Sure.
Lovely. So I'll hand the floor over to you.
I want to stay home as long as possible, or until I feel I want to go to my birthplace. I want to remain mobile during my surges and use positioning techniques. I would like to not use medical pain relief until I've tried breathing and massage. But I can change my mind.
And that's with any of these things in the birth plans is you can change your mind. None of this is signing a contract. This is
Set in stone.
you can change your mind on any part of it.
I'd like to try relief in water if possible. And I want my support person with me at all times. Yeah, what's your name?
Previa.
Oh, placenta previa?
Yeah, due to a placenta previa, an elective C-section has been chosen, so that's
Does everyone know what placenta previa is?
No.
So,
Oh, yeah.
So placenta is down covering your cervix.
Oh yeah, and that's something they know about before.
They
so
do
it's
know
like-
about it. So just because your placenta might be down low in earlier scans, quite often as your uterus grows with the baby, it can move up. But if the placenta is covering the cervix, obviously it's covering baby's exit. And so they do an elective C-section for that purpose.
They find out that that's what position it's in.
How do they find out? With ultrasound.
Scans.
Your 20-week scan, we've seen
So
that.
if it's not in the wrong position by that stage, it's not going to move there.
If it's closed at 20 week, they will check it again.
They will check it again.
About 32 weeks
Yeah,
or something.
but if it was well clear,
Yeah.
then it's not going to shift down. It just sort of shifts up as the uterus grows. It moves up and around.
So what sort of things would that mean if someone with that went into natural labour?
Oh, okay.
What sort of barriers, obviously like it's covering, but how would that go about?
Natural labour is impossible.
So it's not, so what would happen that would alarm them suddenly like,
If you had suddenly bleed,
right, yeah.
and you would need to go
Mm.
straight. So if you know you've got a placenta previa, that's something that the midwife will go over very, very
Yeah,
closely
yeah.
with you. and say if this or this happens. It's one of the true medical
Yeah.
reasons that we look at elective C-sections.
Mhm.
Right, next one would be, I would like to...
No, it's the second, aren't they all numbered?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1, 2.
I would have gone that one
Two.
before that one myself. But anyway, I would like my support person with me at all times. Or...
See, exactly, but this is a birth journey. You're
Hey, I'm a
making a
male, I have my own
So
way
that's
of
fine.
things. I
You
would
can
like
put your
my...
journey
To
down.
me, it would be, I would like my support person...
No, it was the 2,
no, it
3
was
you would.
2, 3, sorry. Back off. There we go. To me, I would have said I would like to be shown my baby immediately at the birth for noise to be kept to a minimum instead of I would like my support person, I would like to have my support person with me at all times.
That's your journey. You pop it down there. What do you
My
want?
journey.
You're good for it.
Alright? My journey.
Yes, it's fine.
So I'm going that one.
Okay.
Now I'm going to go that one. I'm not going to read them because you can. Thank you. That's right.
So we've gone due to placenta previa, an elective C-section has been chosen. I would like to be shown baby immediately at birth and for noise to be kept to a minimum.
Yeah.
So there are still things that you can really promote with your obstetrician and with your midwife that are still keeping some of these like natural birth environments for you and for baby, even though you have gone into a highly technical, highly medicalised area.
Still do skin on skin.
Still do skin to skin. So I'd like my support person with me at all times. So generally they will only allow one person in the theatre with you. But there is a viewing room that the rest of your family can go into.
May I say, the reason why I picked that is because I've had a daughter born where I've had to zip off because she got taken away and I left the mother by herself.
Yep.
Where I caught a lot of stuff from that because I left it by herself.
Yep.
Hence why
And that's not what she wanted. She wanted a support person with her.
yeah.
Whereas if it were me, I would want him.
Who wants this support person to take off and leave them
I would
there?
want you to.
So
To me, it was more
Yeah.
daughter orientated. You look
If Dad
after your
did
daughter.
go with baby, would you have comfortable having a mother there, or would you want your mum?
For me, if it was some
You're
emergency,
there.
but if it was an emergency for me, if for whatever reason I had to go in for a C-section and say Jess wasn't there, I would rather Ryan went with the baby, so because I know I'm going to be looked after, and I know the baby is too. But to me,
And your
I don't know. Yeah, my midwife would be there with me.
Yeah.
To me, I wouldn't want my baby without its mum or dad. Like I don't, even though it might not
And
know.
that's probably why I'm pushing 2, 3 in front of 2, 2.
absolutely.
My opinion.
Yep, and it's your
And then the rest of them follow. Yes,
your journey.
it is.
And I would like my support person to have skin to skin immediately with baby. So if for some reason they won't, I don't like saying won't delete you, but if for some reason you aren't able to do skin to skin with baby yourself, so quite often they can still open your gown up at the top and still lay baby across the top of your chest. If mum can't do it for some reason, dad's nothing
Yeah,
stopping
that's
you.
what I was saying too.
And another thing, because I'm having a good night, you ladies need to take your blankets home to your pets, dogs.
Oh, to prepare home animal.
For your
Yeah,
dogs.
pets.
Your dogs are
So the dog
one of
gets
the
familiar
main
with the
things we were going to be jealous.
Oh, no, my dog.
And they become familiar
So,
with the scent.
Oh,
the more you
Mix them
get
with
to
the
put
baby
your dog to
first.
the centre,
The dog doesn't feel
dog's
threatened
gonna-
by the mum all of a sudden not being able to be touched, and all of a
It's
sudden
good
they're
for the
not.
dogs to have familiar smell.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've never ever had an issue with anyone.
But it's that question, you don't want to have the issue with the
Yeah, it's
dog.
been a
Yeah.
prevention
It's like,
issue.
just bring it out, do it, get the dog introduced. If I actually recall when Taylor was born, my dog went to I brought Taylor out of the hospital and showed her to the dog solely because I'm a dog person.
And he'd had the dog that
I've had
many
the
years
dog
as well.
that many years, and she was a daddy's dog, and it's that jealousy thing you don't want to worry about. So it's better to introduce the baby to the dog the quicker you can, or animal, any animal. horse.
You
Got
should
quite
get a
a
little
nice
bit of a
horse.
smell of that baby that should smell like you too.
Yeah, a very similar scent to mum.
Yeah.
Is quite so babies normally feel me to animals simply because they can smell mum.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much animals can sense, like.
Well, especially when they're a family pet, they're a family. So you have to can't block the dog out when their baby's due, born, because it's a family. It's got to be.
And that oxytocin we've talked about a lot as being their main. It's also releasing with pet animals, especially cats. The stroking them, that's why they bring them into rest homes and that for pets, and it actually releases oxytocin, which is their happy hormone. So they also think that might be why cats become quite, when dogs seem to know before we go into labour, they become quite attached and near us. And they think it's because our oxytocin levels are going up, which they're quite stimulated by. A bit of completely off topic here. No, it's really helpful to share these things because you have been here and you've been in with your dogs
That's the
and
thing
that.
for
So
the new ladies, as to say, the newborn ladies. Something they need to understand.
yeah. So the very last one on that one was I would like assistance to breastfeeding the couple. So that's what we're talking about. You know, it's getting that oxytocin and everything else going. So your uterus still needs to clamp down after a C-section or whatever. They do manually remove the placenta, and obviously they do, you know, suction and everything else before you stitch it out. But often it takes longer to stitch you up afterwards than it does to take to get the baby out. So there's lots of skin-to-skin time available there, but also getting that breastfeeding done as
On
soon
the
as possible.
breastfeeding straight after birth, I had not a very good experience with my first. So what I've always done now is had them skin on skin. If they're looking for a feed, I put their fist in their mouth, which seemed to work quite well. I'd have a shower, my husband would be holding the baby, and come out and sit in a chair and have a pillow and just be totally ready, in a good position to feed. Because my first feeding experience,
Because you
wasn't
can
that
be
good.
quite out of it,
I was
and you don't
laying
reach
down
and
in
then,
bed and the positioning was
2 days
so
later,
wrong,
and
and it just went downhill from there. And I found just being able to sit up properly and have someone help you to do it properly and be in a good
And I mean, it's
position.
that assistance that, you know, is really...
You almost need someone to hold your baby up if you're in the wrong position.
Yeah, and also after C-section, remember that we have got a lot of pain relief medication on board, and also, so you probably will need somebody to help you do that.
So can you breastfeed then if you have a bunch of drugs in your system?
That's what I always wondered. Why?
I know.
Because they really give you some heavy drugs after
It's a
C-section.
few hours. Wow. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
That's okay.
They do still encourage it directly after birth. I have read some stuff that they used to wait 2 hours or so to lessen the amount that's in your body, but because they do use epidurals, it will offer you pain relief for a wee while. So those first feeds, we will go to epidurals next week. We will talk about some of these bits. You know, that may be something that you get asked to make a decision on. But because they use an epidural as pain relief, so it's a complete block, they don't sort of introduce too many drugs, because as they wean you off the epidural, they sort of, find your comfort. There is morphine, I'm pretty sure that's what most people have post-birth.
Oxycontin, Oxycontin, sorry.
Oxytocin.
I have
Oxycontin, slow release morphine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's a benefits risk analysis there. You know, and in all honesty, C-sections are major surgery. There's no other way of looking at them. And so you do need pain relief. You need to be comfortable and able to be a mother. And so pain relief provides you with that. But pain relief has got risks. But they're very, very experienced in what they're doing. And so always question what's going on, what are the, use that brain thing, so benefit, risk, ultimates, intuition, whether or not we do anything, and just keep that in the back of your mind for all those things, but yes, they
Oxynorm.
is still really encouraged to breastfeed, and it's for your health as well as babies.
I can't think of it.
Yeah, it was. think I've known for
Okay, I plan to birth at home. I've made myself a nest area in the lounge. I would like this area to be respected as my birth space. I plan to use a birth pool for relief during my surges and have hired one. I would like to be in a dim lighted quiet space. Please respect this. And I have rescue remedy available. Please remember to offer me this if I feel overwhelmed.
Has anyone tried that, by the way?
The rescue room lady?
I have.
Yeah.
Not for birth.
Yeah, not for me. I was going to say, I had in
I
general.
have a birth. Absolutely. Yeah,
Did
really,
you find it actually?
really resettled me. And that was during my labour was just over an hour from my very, very first nipple to holding my baby. My husband had just got the birth pool filled up and he was really cross that I shouldn't stay in the boat. He's like, I've just filled it, get it! And it was kind of like, can't.
So did you
So
reply
I
afterwards?
No, it was just at the moment when I went, she's coming, and I went quite shaky and just a little bit, this isn't real, and it just really quite grounded me. I found it really good. With Cody, at that transition point that we talked about, that little sort of sharp bend, normally that is, traditional part where a woman will say, I just can't do this, I don't want to do this, or some women may just go very into themselves and just really focus on that. But I use rescue remedy there, and as I say, people just change that thought in your mind about, I can't do this anymore, to, right, if I'm feeling this way, this is going to change in a minute to being from contractions to being, active, participating in this birth. I'm going to be pushing my baby out soon. And my midwife offered it to me, and it really did just sort of re-ground me and just help me. So it's definitely worth a shot. Reputable rescue remedy. Do buy the stuff that just says it's like 96% grape alcohol. It's it's just alcohol pretty much. So yeah, definitely get a bark. 5-hour remedy. Yeah, or talk to a homeopath that's really experienced in it. Right, Sheila.
Yeah, I plan to stay at home as long as possible. I would like the opportunity to use self-help techniques during labour but would like the option of gas if I want it. I have birth words that I would like to be reminded of: open, breathe, relax, and please say these to me. I would like Dad to be able to see baby being born and would like you to help facilitate this. And I would like all unnecessary medical items wheeled away or behind curtains in my birth room.
So, what was I going to say? The birth words can be quite a powerful visualisation for some people. I don't want you doing it right now because visualisations can actually be really powerful. But closer to the time, think of things that you can make an analogy to or a simile in your brain of something opening and imagining it. For some people it can be as literal as imagining a cervix in their head opening. Some people sort of like a wee bit more sort of poetic sort of thing of, I'm imagining a flower unfurling, I'm watching a kura open up. There's lots of different visualisations you can use here, but sometimes if you've sort of thought of these words and you do have them around your birthing space, sometimes it can be really helpful if you've spent time with these birth words for your support person to have your hands looking in the eye and say, breathe, open, relax. You can do this. Remember your words. You're doing amazing. You're doing great. You're about to have our child. Just all those really encouraging things, but sometimes a real visualisation of things can be really quite effective. So, we've all got all these birth journeys, so each of us will choose our own one. But at the end, we have a very similar response. We have a baby. going to give you a handout in a second. It's called the Win-Win Birth Plan. I feel like getting my cheerers tonight, dear. And I haven't been to the pub, I do promise. So you're going to have, in your birth plan, you're going to have about what you want leading up to the birth of your baby, how you want to help facilitate your birth, how you want your support person to be that guardian, and how you want your midwife to support you through these things. Again, nothing set in concrete. You may have said you do not want any sort of medical pain relief. Whilst you're there, you may say, actually, I do. Or you might have walked, started this course thinking, I'm going to have an epidural and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And hopefully by the end of it, you might be changing your mind slightly, or it might still be completely appropriate for you and what you want. So none of it is set in concrete, except for this lovely part at the end of that labouring is your baby. So in your birth plan or your birth journey, you're going to have a few things you want to have about baby, and that's like whether or not you want to do delay cord clamping with baby, what you want to do with your femur, so whether or not you want that kept, or if you want the midwife to dispose of it for you, so that's something you can have in there. 99.9% babies aren't taken away for any reason anymore. They don't get whizzed off to this little nursery. Unless baby for some reason has needed some help, then they might be in the NICU, etc. So if you've had a preem, or if something traumatic has happened, your baby just needs a wee bit of assistance, baby will be there. The minute you're able, generally they will encourage you, and they will make it very possible for you to be in there with baby. You also need to have things in there like breastfeeding. You want that help breastfeeding straight after birth, whether or not you want any sort of pacifiers or anything else. Obviously we are going to do breastfeeding in a couple of weeks, but that's something we will talk about is nipple confusion and those sorts of things, and so by not putting pacifiers or anything else near a baby, that's really, really beneficial to the breastfeeding relationship. So lots of wee decisions to be made, but it's all about you all being on that same page, and so your birth guardian can't be on the same page as you if you haven't shared what is really important to you. And it's also gives you that opportunity to make that informed choice if anything does deviate for some reason. You've switched from, if I need to transfer to hospital, to I've ended up having a C-section and this has happened. Or you might think, I want to stay at home as long as possible. Yeah, I'm going to be at home now, I'm not going to transfer anywhere. And most of the midwives are going to be fine with that. So, you can deviate along the road wherever you like, but generally we're going to all end up in the same position here with our baby, which is the goal. And it's the ultimate reward. It really is. This thing here too that we've got is about what influence the progress of your labour, and so there's sort of something called the 4 Ps of childbirth, and so it's a passenger, which is your baby. It's a passage, so your pelvic bones, your cervix, your vagina, and the muscles in your pelvis, so we've discussed those wee bits already. Power, your contractions, how your surges move you and your baby closer together to being born, and your psyche, your emotions, how your emotions affect things. So by having something down with all of your beliefs and what your ultimate choices would be, really does help encourage all of those things. And you also know that you've got someone that's got your back and is going to say, encourage the choices that you made, but never feel like you've signed a contract. You can change your mind at any time with those. Right, so I've got something here for you guys. So Penny Simpkin, if you haven't heard of her, is absolutely amazing. So research Penny Simpkin if you have time. But this is her win-win birth plan. So on this here, she sort of says what the components are and how to write a birth journey. So that's something for you guys to just do in your own time together. And it's really worth a read, and if you happen to come across any of Penny's books and things, I would thoroughly recommend them. The reason why we experience pain is simply because the body is working. So like any other muscle that's working, you can feel pain if you're lots of work. So pain, if we just sort of change our thoughts about pain. So pain is just your body sending a message to your brain that something's happening. So if you put your hand in the flame, you get a pain message and it tells you, oops, you better take my hand out of there. So pain in labour is your body sending you a message that your baby's going to be here soon. So how, I think you've got a head or something like that. How do you guys act when you're in pain at the moment?
Irritable.
Depends what kind of pain you're in. Don't look at me like that. If it's intense, continuous pain, like I've got quite a few tattoos, and I've fallen asleep through tattoos because I'm quiet and I get into like a zone type thing. But then if he trips me and I don't really hurt, then I make a bit of a drama out of things. But, you know, that kind of quick pain.
So we could say you might go
Oh,
on a zone of the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. How else do you deal with pain? How do you act? How do you deal? I know when I've got a headache before I can try and find a quiet space.
Go to bed if you can.
Yeah. So rest.
Bitch.
Irritable?
Yeah, quite irritable.
No, I'll go with it. Slash.
Okay, just alright.
Thank you.
Any of you guys get loud?
I think sort of like what you were saying, you get louder to a point, and then when the pain gets really bad, then you start getting quiet, and then you know it's
When it's serious pain, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you might see this behaviour in there. I mean, quite often how we deal with pain is very, very individual to each of us. And like I say, it depends on the type of pain you're experiencing. So why you think you're in pain. Obviously if you're stuck your toe and your toenail's hanging off, you know exactly why that hurts. And it's a very different response to, I've just got a headache for no reason. You know, why is that happening? Whereas the message that you're getting for pain in labour is your baby's going to be here soon. So it's not a message that something's wrong, because pain often, we have the saying, if we've got pain, there's something wrong. And it's not that, it's just a message getting sent to you. And so in this case, it's that your baby will be here soon. So, for each of those behaviours during pain, I mean, what do you do now to relieve pain? If you are in pain, how do you relieve it?
Stop doing what's causing the pain, generally. But
Yep.
yeah, if it's like your hand in the flame type thing, but yeah.
Yeah. So, we can't remove.
No, you can't. That's what I mean, yeah.
But I do get what you mean, but I mean, perhaps removing that thought about it being something wrong,
Yeah.
because it's not. It's just your body working, it's your muscles working, it's your cervix opening, it's all of those things going together.
Normally I would pop an Advil or something, but
Yeah.
at the moment I think sleep is probably my number one. If it really hurts, like if my back really hurts, I try and just lie down and take a nap or
Yeah.
something. Hopefully
So-
it's better when you wake up.
You might rest.
A warm shower.
Yeah, repositioning of these.
I swear my handwriting is getting worse and worse. Warm shower. Sorry, what was that?
Well, in terms of like stopping what you're doing, or so if you're in one position, like you're lying down and you're in a lot of pain, you might go sit on a Swiss ball because it's not taking the pain away, but it's sort of, yeah, doing what
So
you can
positioning
to
for
change. Yeah,
comfort.
yeah. There's lots of wet bags.
We thought we'd do that. And if you had to get a blood test and wanted someone to hold your hand, I mean, sometimes just a bit of human touch.
Distraction as well, maybe. Like, yeah, even in relation to like getting a blood test, I find if I go, I tell the people to just continue talking to me and don't tell me when they're going to do it, and just carry on talking about the weekend or something, and so just complete distraction.
So, you guys have actually got a lot of tools in your tool belts already for how to deal with pain. So, pain isn't something foreign to any of us. I mean, I'd love to say none of us have ever rolled our ankle and said a few words that children should have heard. But you have already got tools there that you know how to use. You know if your back's sore, let's wiggle and jiggle and move and find some way it's not. The other one with that is, massage. So most of us know it feels really, really good if you're tired, sore, that someone rub those muscles out if you stay in labour. Okay. I mean, Advil is, I remember Advil and Tylenol from overseas, Panadol. But, that is an option. For some of you, it's entirely appropriate and what you want. It's absolutely fine. Rest. So the main thing that we said, these horrible pictures that circulate on Facebook, and there's one about love your mother, giving birth is like having a broken leg or something dreadful like that that isn't helpful at all. It's nothing like that. Because, quite simply, you break your leg, it hurts, 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 it hurts. Doesn't change until it heals. Does it? It's just one, I've done it, and it hurts all the way through to here until it heals. Contractions aren't like that at all. So your surges, they start here, off we go, to that peak, and we said there's that peak, and you learn what your peak is, and then you're going to come back down, and then there's that gap. There's no pain in there, so you have a full, complete break. So you may still have some discomfort, like as in you've just sat funny in that last one, etc. But it's nothing like that. And then you rise to the next peak, come down, and you get a full rest. So there's a full rest, there's a full break in between each of those. So those pictures aren't helpful, and I would like to ban them all. But so that's something really different to pain that we're used to dealing with. Those of us that have ever had uncomfortable periods probably are more aware of what I'm talking about. That it's okay.
So between those rests, there could be like a minute, 2 minutes?
Well, that's what
Early stage are 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah, early labour. You can still sleep through most of those. So if it's 3 a.m. when you realise you've gone into labour, I know it's really hard though, because it's exciting, the baby's finally coming and you want to wake up everybody and bring all sorts of people that it's happening, but because you don't know how long that journey is going to be for you, definitely do try and sleep through them. As you're getting further and further along, that break is going to shorten down, but there is always that break. Transition, like I said, changes a wee bit to, that peak might last that little bit longer, as in that's where they're more intense then, but know that that's your body's final hurrah. It's doing, it's like the marathon runner that can see the finish line, and although they might have been really puffed and tired and not too sure where that finish line was 2 k's back, suddenly they can see it and another full burst of being there. And that's labour, that's that final hurrah at the end. And then it changes to the pushing contractions are very different than you ladies will know that, but it's a very, very different sensation. And I wouldn't even say pushing contractions. contractions are necessarily painful. They're just more of a sensation you really have to pay attention to, and your body is telling you that it wants to help you birth this baby right now, so let's work with it. So,
when the contractions progress, you might have covered this last week. So they get closer together, and the contractions themselves last for longer.
yes.
And do they stay at the same intensity level? It's just the amount of time that they hang around for that changes, or do they also become more intense?
They become more
Okay.
intense. So the real sign that you're in labour is your contractions are becoming stronger, longer and closer together.
Okay.
So they do just sort of take, but it's not like it goes from drink to drink to drink. It's nothing like that, you know, it's just think, you can do that for quite some time, and then, you know, say an hour later, it just gets a little bit higher.
Okay.
And just coming down. So that's at 511, you would have missed that. And pretty much most midwives want to come to your house or want you to transfer up to the hospital. Once your contractions have been about 5 minutes apart, they'll last in 1 minute in length, and that's been happening for about an hour. So I sort of call that the 511. Your midwife might have different.
Can you usually tell by your voice?
I was going to say, most midwives will keep you on the phone for a wee bit,
So a few contractions so they can see.
and they can tell, you know, the beauty of a midwife working with a woman's body all the time, that they, you know, most midwives won't actually even do vaginal examinations anymore. They can just sort of tell by how you're behaving.
Yeah.
And something interesting that midwives said to me with transition is women's toes go like this without them even seeming to know. And it's just that the baby is dripped right down, and so often they'll look at the, you know, especially if you're in the birth pool, and they'll see your toes go like this, and they'll actually know you're about to switch, which I thought that was actually really quite neat. And I remember with Nicola looking for my toes.
I'm watching for my toes.
It was a great distraction though, exactly what you know.
Yeah.
I was completely distracted looking at the toes. And I even put nail polish on them so I can see them in the birth pool. So there, put some orange nail polish on your toes. So, right, we are running out of time, I realise, so we've just sort of whizzed over a few things. So, I will just give you guys this here to do at home if you guys are happy with that. Ask me any questions about it, but it was to do with those 4 P's in labour, and one of them was psych, and that's your emotions. And if you're worried and if you're stressed about things, it's very, very hard to relax. So this is called a worry time exercise. I can never say that without sounding like I've got a lisp. So it's just a really nice little exercise to just sort of do at quiet spot in the day, and it's about reaffirming anything that you're worried about and changing it into a different sort of wording, a different sort of internal monologue, because as we know, our internal monologue is very, very strong. So, last but not least, if I guys can get you to sort of just split down the middle into two. Ryan, do you mind swinging that way?
No.
You guys don't mind being split?
No, that's fine.
So, I'm just going to feel these parts, and it's all about positive changing.
Sure.
Changing that belief about pain things. So, if you guys just sort of want to read and discuss as a group those two, and you guys can see it, so we discuss. And so, I'm sorry, I would have liked to give you about 10-ish minutes to read and look over them, but
That's fine.
Next one.
we'll compress that down to about 5 minutes, I'm sorry, and then we'll switch around, but I will put these up for you guys to read in more depth. And if you've got any questions about any of it, do.
Fair, thanks, Michael.
instead of doing a switch around, I'm going to change my mind. Sorry. Do you guys want to share with each other what you've just read? How does that sound? You guys all okay with that? I was going to say, rather than doing a switch and trying to share it up in a short time. So, are you happy to share with what you've got there?
Because I can get the pink. Just want me to read this.
Yeah, or just sort of summarise it to a degree if you can.
I have it.
You know,
I'll have a look. I'm going to go in the parent centre. I've got it in the library. But I don't have a video player, so I couldn't put it here.
This is just going over the 3 different types of pain in childbirth, and I guess understanding why that's happening is to identifying the work that your body's doing. First type is to do with the muscle contractions, the cervix is opening and dilating. Second is pressure as the baby gets lower, and the third type of pain is as the baby's actually being born, stretching the vagina and skin to let the baby through. I think don't focus on the words, think of what it's all signifying rather than focusing on, I guess, the words of what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And when you're feeling that stretching, focusing on, I guess, that the baby's nearly there, and rather than, I guess, the pain of it, really.
And very, very short moment. It really is. But yeah, exactly saying it's changing that, you know, the pain message, it's just the message your baby is coming, but your body's actually working, and that's what it is. It's not that anything is wrong, there's muscles physically working. So really good summarise. Thank you.
How do fear and tension relate to pain? So it's saying the increased pain in turn increases fear, and a cycle repeats. Women becoming tense, and then the fear and the pain and all that. So it's about reducing the fear and reducing the tension and adrenaline in response to fight or flight reflex and all that. So I guess, I don't know, educating, know what might or might not happen, and having somebody talk you through it as it's happening, so you don't have that fear, and that just reassurance that everything is going okay and you can relax more. And
absolutely. So I mean, fear gives off adrenaline, and talking about those birth hormones was adrenaline stops oxytocin working. And so oxytocin is that feel good, it's making everything work well. And if we're fearful of something, that fight or flight does come in, and so we have adrenaline come on board, causes everything to be worse. You know, it just feels more tense and everything else. So if we can get rid of that pain, get rid of that tension, lower that pain, get rid of that fear, lower that tension, then lower that pain, and it becomes a nice, but it is a self-feeding cycle. So, wonderful, thank you.
My heading is, what techniques can I try to cope well with labour? There's 3 of them, and one is drinking plenty of fluids and staying off your back. Lying on your back can reduce blood flow to your uterus from almost by 30% of blood flow through your system. Second one is using warm or cold compressions. You can either go sit in a stool in the shower, or you can, that's about it for that one. Choosing a position which is comfortable, many different ways, swaying, moving your hips, yeah.
So just working with your body, working with positions, and just finding, you know, some of the really simple things that we talk about that we already do for pain. We put a cold flannel on our head, we put hot water on a sore back in the shower. Some of those tools that we've already got are also really applicable during labour. Thank you, right?
This one's just sort of a general one about pain. So it's mostly reinforcing what you said. Pain is not a signal that something's wrong in this case. It's not constant, but comes and goes with your contractions, and it has a positive purpose in that it leads to the birth of your baby. And then it talks about the language that we use and how EMA Gaskin uses rushes instead of contractions, and hypnobirthing uses surges instead of contractions, and you know, I guess urges you to think about whether it would be helpful for you to rename some of the language about birth that maybe has a negative connotation.
I think I might just read mine. I could be easier. How do I cope with pain? Learning to cope with pain is not a new concept for most women. Everyone has experienced pain, and most of us already have identified measures that help. Here's some ideas that may help with childbirth. Try techniques that you have found helpful before in coping with pain, such as cold compresses and rest for a headache, or deep breathing or distraction for an injury. You also review a variety of other techniques that might be new to you. If you've already had a baby, think about which pain management techniques were most successful to help you in preparing for childbirth again. If you felt somewhat unsuccessful in coping with childbirth pain before, you might be scared or nervous when you think about doing it again. Take some time to acknowledge this and recognise that these are normal feelings. Identify how you express pain. For many of us, this may be culturally or socially based. In some cultures, women are expected to be stoic and about childbirth pain and may exhibit few signs of pain as they experience contractions. In other cultures, loud expressions of pain are expected. Of course, women may fall anywhere along the spectrum. You might find that you cry, moan, talk or swear when you experience pain, or you may close your eyes and try to remain calm. All these responses are normal, yet some produce a greater reaction from those around you. After all, who doesn't want to help someone who is crying or moaning? As you prepare for birth, help prepare your support person as well by talking or role-playing for them about how you might express pain and how they might best respond to it. Establish realistic expectations regarding childbirth pain. Some childbirth preparation materials talk about relieving discomfort, which might lead you to believe that it will go away with proper techniques. However, most women report that childbirth is hard work and painful, and holistic pain management and comfort measures can seldom eliminate pain. What they can do is give you tools to minimise the amount of pain you have, effectively cope with the pain that you may experience, and conserve your energy to be able to effectively do the work of childbirth.
So, pretty much nothing but an individual. That's the only one that can, say it completely removes the sensation. But everything else is about minimising it, it's about coping with it, and it's about empowering you to work with it and to think, yeah, that was a bit intense, that was a bit, hey, hang on, that was, stop now, and I just did that, I've done it. That was, I've acknowledged it, I've got it, I've done it. And when the next one comes, you can go, right, I did that a minute ago, what worked? That worked, let's do it again. And just really finding what works for you during your labour. So does anyone have any questions about those, what we've just all shared? I will put them all up so we can all have a look at them in depth. I'm sorry to compress them like that for you. You want to Okay. Next week we are going to do a few practical things about how we can help ourselves through labour. And working on this really only makes my easel. On practical, positive pain, how we're going to deal with that, how we're going to work with that, and also how you guys can help with that too. So, if possible, if you guys could bring a towel with you, please. We do something with ice, and just in case it drips or it pops or something else happens. I'm sure none of you want to go home I normally remember to bring a couple of spears, but just staying quite so many, so if you just want to bring a towel, put over your knees next week. But, lovely. Well, I hope it's sunny next week.